All right, welcome and thank you for taking the time to watch this. I promise you it will bring you clarity and a sense of control that you've probably been lacking in your health journey so far. So let's get into it. Um, whoop. Okay, so I'm not too distracting. Today, I'm going to share the four root causes that keep women stuck. These four things almost never get investigated by conventional medicine, yet they show up on my clients' lab work week after week. Mind you, these exact scenarios are what cause systemic inflammation, chronic fatigue, hormonal chaos, and a decline in overall resiliency and just health in general. They cause a lot of problems. I built this training program for the women who feel like they're doing everything right and they still feel absolutely terrible. They feel like they can't get control over their energy, their digestion, their weight, and they just aren't finding the answers they need from their doctors. These are the women that I help discover what's actually going on a deeper level, and we course correct. And the biggest win out of this training is that you will learn what is going on in your body, why, and how to take action. Whoop. Okay. Before I get into the root causes, I want you to think about how long you've been dealing with discomfort. Maybe it's been a few years, maybe it's been a decade. You've probably tried things such as an elimination diet, cutting out gluten, going dairy free, trying different probiotics, buying supplements off Instagram, and some of them maybe helped for a little while, but the bloating came back, the fatigue didn't go away completely, and your digestion is still unpredictable. And then you go to your doctor, or maybe multiple doctors, and you leave with a prescription medication that didn't actually solve your problems. They told you to reduce your stress, clean up your diet, lose a few pounds, and they send you on your way. You're left wondering, why does my body feel this way? Why do I all of a sudden need thyroid medication, a statin, a PPI? If any of this sounds familiar, I want you to know that you are not making this up, so don't gaslight yourself. You are not broken and you're not out of options. What you're missing is the right investigation. All right, quick little intro for anybody who is new here. I am Danielle Blasco. I'm a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner. I work with mostly women who have chronic gut issues, fatigue, and hormonal imbalances. I use functional testing, so I love the GI map test, the Dutch Plus, and blood chemistry to actually investigate what's going on in the body. The difference is that I'm not treating symptoms, I'm looking for causes. And the framework that I'm sharing with you today is the exact framework I use with every client who walks through my door. Let me tell you a little bit about my story, and then we will get into the root causes. So, a quick intro about me. Oop. My journey started in 2018. I was a CrossFit gym owner at the time in Indiana. I began working with a nutrition coach to improve my performance and quickly realized how much of a difference it made in my energy and my body composition. I was obsessed. I realized that when I ate good food and I hit specific macros, got plenty of sleep and water, I felt amazing. And I simply just wanted to share this with my people, my community. However, I noticed that there was a frustrating pattern. Many women were doing everything right, like I had just mentioned, and they're still hitting a wall. They'd see a small boost in energy or a drop in bloating, but their weight loss would just stall and symptoms would just continue to linger. Then in 2021, my life completely changed. I went through a divorce and I moved across the country from Indiana to Arizona, and the stress of all of that just finally caught up to me. Even though I was in my peak physical shape, as you can see in this picture, my internal health was an absolute mess. I had severe anxiety for the first time in my life. My insomnia was so bad, I couldn't go to sleep. Even taking melatonin, magnesium, I would take Z-Quil sometimes, a THC gummy. I literally took everything that I could get my hands on, and I still had a hard time sleeping. I experienced chronic bloating, loss of my cycle, and as you can see in this picture, I developed pretty severe adult acne. So my rock bottom is basically what led me to functional nutrition and becoming an FDNP. And today I help women decode their bodies so that you can finally stop guessing and start addressing what's actually going on because I know how it feels. Let's talk about why nothing has worked up till this point. It's really plain and simple, and it's the fact that conventional doctors in Western medicine, they don't address the body as a whole. The conventional approach is to run blood work, treat symptoms, prescribe a medication. It doesn't work for you and what you're dealing with because it's not designed to. Standard medicine treats each system in isolation. So your gut doctor will treat your gut, your OB treats your hormones. Nobody is looking at how these systems talk to one another. That's the functional approach. We investigate, we test, we look at the whole system, gut, hormones, adrenals, and we work in the right sequence so that what we do actually sticks. Okay, so here are the four root causes I want to walk you through today. These are the things I see most consistently on functional labs in women with chronic gut issues, and they, once again, are not being addressed. Number one, hidden infections such as H. pylori, SIBO, yeast, and parasites. Number two, backed up drainage, liver, lymph, and bile flow dysfunction. Number three, adrenal dysfunction and cortisol imbalance. And number four, hormone imbalance and how it worsens gut permeability. For each one, I'm going to tell you what it is, why it gets missed, and what it actually looks like in real life. So let's start with number one. We have hidden infections. Most of my clients are shocked and I will say relieved to find that they've been hosting uninvited little critters for probably quite some time. I'm talking about things such as H. pylori, SIBO, yeast, and parasites. So, H. pylori is a bacteria that hides in your stomach lining and shuts down digestion. SIBO is a bacteria that has migrated, or it's bacteria that has migrated to the wrong part of your gut, the small intestine, where they don't belong. Yeast and parasites, these are opportunistic organisms that steal your nutrients and they leave you absolutely exhausted and drained. So maybe you've gone to your doctor and you've had conventional gut testing, but it oftentimes misses the mark, and here's why. Many breath tests only work if the bacteria are active at that exact moment. So if they're sleeping or dormant or hiding under biofilms, which they like to do, then when you blow in the tube, you get a false negative. Then you have standard stool samples, which use culture technology, meaning the lab tries to grow the bacteria in a petri dish. If it doesn't grow, they don't see it. And then lastly, most doctors only look for acute pathogens. It's think of like the ones that cause food poisoning. So if your infection is chronic or hiding, it simply isn't visible to them. I use the GI map because it's like switching from the types of tests I just had mentioned, which are kind of like the old grainy TV, to now a sleek 4K TV. The GI map uses DNA technology to find the actual genetic footprint of pathogens. So it doesn't matter if the bacteria are active or if they're dormant, or if the lab knows how to grow them in a petri dish. It doesn't matter. If the DNA is there, we find it. This is how we finally uncover H. pylori or parasites that have been dodging detection for a decade. All right, let's talk about the H. pylori pattern. If you are somebody who suffers from reflux or heartburn that antacids don't help, or if you feel stuffed or bloated almost immediately after eating, and then even like having a full feeling lingering for hours, that is oftentimes an H. pylori problem. Now, when we're talking about SIBO, you will actually feel worse when you eat healthy foods. So when you eat high fiber foods, salads, fruits, the things that everyone is telling you to eat, you'll actually feel worse because you are feeding a bacteria and it's overgrowing and causing more bloat and discomfort. Most of my clients come to me after they've slashed their food list in half or even more, and they still feel terrible. They aren't crazy. You aren't crazy. It's not just in your head. You just have a hidden gut infection that traditional medicine wasn't equipped to find. And once you identify the specific intruders, you can stop it and actually start to heal. Next up, number two, backed up drainage. This is a really important piece to the puzzle. Your body has a built-in waste removal system. Your liver processes hormones, environmental toxins, and metabolic waste. Your lymphatic system carries waste away from your tissues, and your bile carries toxins out through your stool. When any of these pathways are sluggish, everything you try to clear just recirculates. You can take, so let's just say, for instance, you've tried to go through gut protocols before and you've taken specific herbs to kill pathogens. So if you've done that and you've experienced die-off reactions or you've experienced feeling worse than you felt prior, that's because your exit doors aren't open. Let's talk about the three drainage pathways. The liver is your main detox organ. It processes estrogen, toxins, alcohol, medications. Everything goes through here. If it's overburdened, estrogen doesn't clear properly, which leads to estrogen dominance. That then drives gut inflammation. And we'll come back to that in root cause number four. The lymphatic system is basically your body's drainage network. But unlike your cardiovascular system, this lymphatic system doesn't have a pump and it purely relies on movement, breath, and hydration to keep things flowing. So when it's stagnant, you feel puffy, your immune system suffers, and your body can't clear inflammation efficiently. Bile is critical for fat digestion and for carrying toxins out in your stool. Poor bile flow means fat malabsorption, bloating after fatty meals, and it can cause loose, foul smelling stools. This is why drainage has to come first before we clear infections. Before we repair the gut lining, the exits have to be open. All right, number three is adrenal dysfunction. This is the root cause that conventional medicine does the least about when it comes to gut issues. Here's the physiology. Your adrenal glands produce cortisol, your main stress hormone. And cortisol has a direct effect on your gut, on motility, on stomach acid, and on your immune system and your gut lining. Let's take motility. Your gut has something called the migrating motor complex. It's a wave-like movement that sweeps undigested food and bacteria through your small intestine between meals. Cortisol dysregulation slows that down. So then food just sits. Bacteria ferment where they shouldn't, and then you have bloating, gas, and SIBO development. Then we have stomach acid, which is so important. Too high or too low cortisol reduces your stomach acid. Without enough stomach acid, proteins don't break down properly. So you can eat all the protein you should be, and it's still not going to be actually utilized in your body. You also won't absorb minerals well, and pathogens that should be killed in your stomach just simply pass through. We have leaky gut. So high cortisol degrades the tight junctions of your gut lining. And those are the connections between the cells that are supposed to keep your gut contents inside your gut. So when those break down, food particles and toxins leak into your bloodstream. That's the driver behind food sensitivities, systemic inflammation, and a lot of autoimmune activity. And then lastly, we have immune function. 70% of your immune system lives in your gut. And a cortisol imbalance directly disrupts secretory IgA, your gut's first line of defense against pathogens. If you've ever been in a season of chronic stress, which we all have, and by the way, living with daily gut symptoms is a form of chronic stress on the body, your adrenals are involved in this picture. The gut cannot heal in a stressed body, and this is why it is critical to address adrenals and cortisol when healing your gut. Number four, hormone imbalance and gut permeability. Root cause four is the one that almost no one is talking about, the connection between your hormones and the gut lining. Most women I work with have been told their hormones are off, but no one tells them to look at their gut before just jumping on HRT. We have progesterone and gut permeability. So, progesterone is your calming, stabilizing hormone. One of its less talked about roles is maintaining the integrity of your gut lining. When progesterone is low, which is common in a couple scenarios, so think perimenopause, during significant stress, or in the second half of your cycle, intestinal permeability increases, so leaky gut worsens. Then we have estrogen dominance. Estrogen dominance is where estrogen is high relative to progesterone. This drives gut inflammation, disrupts your microbiome, and slows gut motility. And here's kind of where it gets circular. If your drainage pathways are backed up and your liver isn't clearing estrogen properly, that estrogen just gets recirculated. So, more estrogen dominance, more gut inflammation. Then we have the estrobolome. There's a part of your gut microbiome called the estrobolome. It's the group of bacteria responsible for metabolizing estrogen. When your gut microbiome is disrupted from infections or dysbiosis, the estrobolome doesn't work properly. It either recirculates too much estrogen or it clears too much, and either way, your hormone picture gets really chaotic. And if you ever notice that your gut symptoms are worse at a specific point in your cycle, so like more bloating right before your period or more diarrhea when you ovulate, that is your hormones talking to your gut, and that's not a coincidence. Okay, so now you have the four root causes, and I want to show you why the order in which you address them matters so much. You cannot repair a leaky gut while infections are still active. The infections will just keep breaking down the lining as fast as you try to repair it. You cannot balance hormones if drainage is backed up because estrogen has nowhere to clear. This is why the just take the supplement approach always fails. Even if the supplement is amazing, even if it's the right one, even if you're using it in the wrong sequence, you're fighting an uphill battle, and it's honestly a waste of money. Here's the clinical sequence I use with every client. First, drainage. We open the detox pathways, get liver, lymph, and bile flow moving before we try clearing anything. Second, remove. Clear the infections, the pathogens, the overgrowths using targeted protocols based on what your GI map actually found. Third, replace. Restore what's been depleted as far as stomach acid, digestive enzymes, bile, the foundation building blocks of your digestion. Fourth, repopulate. Rebuild the beneficial bacteria that your gut microbiome absolutely needs in the form of probiotics, prebiotics, and fiber. And fifth, repair, heal the gut lining last. The sequence really does matter. All right, next steps. So now you know the four root causes. And if you've been nodding along, if something in what I described sounds familiar, I am so glad. Your body has been trying to tell you something for a long time. This recognition means you can finally find a resolution. That's where the GI map comes in. The GI map is the functional stool test that I run with every single client. It shows us exactly what's living in your gut, which infections are present, how your microbiome and immune markers look, and whether you have signs of permeability or inflammation. It literally turns years of trial and error into a specific data-driven starting point so you can stop guessing and start knowing and healing. When you're ready to take that step, there are two ways that we can work together. The first is the Gut Reset Collective. This is my 4-month program. So, in this program, you get your GI map, you collect at home, I review your results, and then we have a personalized protocol, and you follow through with the 5-phase protocol with a group over the course of the 4 months. You go through a drainage, remove, replace, repopulate, repair. The framework is the same for everyone. The protocol we build for you is entirely yours. The benefit is you're not doing this alone and you're not doing it without data. The second path is private one-on-one care, and this is specifically targeted for women whose picture is more complex. So think like multiple systems in chaos, a significant hormone component alongside the gut issues that you're experiencing. Or it's honestly just there for anybody who wants a more personalized, hands-on approach from day one. Both of these paths will start by going to awakenyourwellness.com, where you can schedule a discovery call with me so we can chat about you. Okay. Lastly, thank you so much for being here. What I want you to take away from today is this: you are not broken and you are not out of options. You just haven't had the right information for your body, and that is fixable. So, with that being said, I hope to see you soon, and please don't hesitate to reach out. You can find me at www.awakenyourwellness.com and schedule your discovery call today.